I have been on teams with some of the most successful athletes in the world. I think this video is important for anyone in any career. This is what I've learned from them, and this is what you should know too. Hello everyone, welcome back to Chlorinated Thoughts. I am your host, Leah Chulak, and I'm back with a new video. Today I want to be talking about what I have learned from training and knowing Olympic medalist athletes throughout my career. If you like what you are seeing so far, I mean, you haven't been watching the video for too long, but if you do, then make sure you subscribe and like the video down below because that really does help me immensely. I have a pretty diverse background of knowing and training with Olympic medalist athletes. I have had the opportunity to get to know some of the best athletes in the world and get to know them on a deeper level and also get to train with them, which is pretty amazing. For example, I actually have 2 podcast episodes up on my YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that, definitely go watch those after this video. One of them is with Regan Smith, who is a world record holder and multiple Olympic medalist, and Olivia Smoliga, who is she also has multiple Olympic medals. They both swim for Team USA. My boyfriend is actually also an Olympic medalist. He swims for Canada, and he won 2 bronze medals at the Olympics in Paris. So that is pretty cool. I also have trained with athletes like Leon Marchand, who is known to be the next Michael Phelps in swimming and is actually arguably better than Michael Phelps, which is actually crazy. Being a swimmer in and of itself is very demanding. You have to put hours of work into swimming even to be mildly good. And if you're going to practice and you're not trying at practice and you're not doing the work that you should be doing, there's a very high chance that you will not get to where you want to go, even though you're still going and you're still putting in hours of this work. There are some key factors that go into really any career that will separate the good from the best. I think a lot of things go into it. Talent and genetics do come into play a lot of the time, but I still do believe that hard work and talent will always beat talent, and sometimes hard work and someone that has less talent will still beat the talented swimmer, that the talented person really in any career that is not really trying or like not really putting in the effort that they should be. In order to be good, particularly at swimming, I think you have to be so dedicated to the sport, but not in the way you think or not in the way that you assume you should be dedicated to it. And that brings me to my first point. A lot of swimmers are very strict with themselves and they do everything that they need to do by the book. And I think a lot of the time that kind of hinders their performance. A lot of athletes, they, go to bed at 8:30. I have to go to bed at 8:30 or else I'm not going to have a good practice. Or I have to stretch after every practice and I cannot miss like a single, stretching. I have to stretch for 15 minutes. I have to foam roll every night or else I'm going to be, my muscles are going to be tense the next day. I never go out because I'm going to be tired for the week of training. And I think this is important when you are commencing to go to your, bigger competitions and stuff. But I think throughout the year, what I've learned is that the best swimmers that I know have a very laid back demeanor. They do not put these big responsibilities on themselves outside of the pool where they're like, okay, I have to do this, this, and this. They're very laid back. I can't help but find this pattern of all the Olympic medalists that I know, that they really they have a good head on their shoulders, but they're not super strict with what they do outside of the pool. They do not follow a super strict diet or a super strict routine or regimen that you would think. It really does help you or prevent you from burning out. I think the main thing that these people do, that people that are very strict with their routine and very strict with what they need to do, is that ultimately if you're like making your whole life revolve around swimming and do everything for swimming, it will lead you to burnout. When I say swimming, it really relates to any career you are in. You don't want your job to feel like, if you're going to work, you're not gonna like revolve your life around your workplace outside of work, but when you are at work, you are doing what you need to be doing. it really shows that when you are swimming and when you are doing your job, you are kind of free and don't really have these pressures or like this feeling of burnout. The next thing that I have realized, what I've observed is during practice, these athletes really are focusing on the even the tiniest details that they practice every day, day in, day out. It really eventually leads to something really amazing, because when you're at that level, it really is the small things that is going to make a huge difference. For example, adding one extra kick in your breakout, or not breathing the first stroke, or counting your stroke every lap so you know the perfect stroke count that is good for you and fastest for you. Whereas I think the average swimmer will focus on getting good times and swimming well and swimming fast, but they don't really look at like what is behind swimming fast. What is behind swimming fast is good technique, good underwaters. Yeah, a lot of the time we're just focusing on let me go faster, but like how do you really how are you going to go faster? You know what I mean? Like there's this end goal of like, okay, I want to do this time, but it's like what really goes into making that and swimming that time. All these small things that you focus on will end up accumulating into the bigger picture. And once you are focusing on the process, focusing and putting your focus onto making your technique better, you will eventually get faster. Like it's like such an obvious outcome that you don't even need to focus on getting faster. When you start to switch your mindset on like fast swimming gets PBs to good and pretty swimming gets PBs, your whole life will change. And this is like the same for any career. Like I want to write 10 pages. Okay? I want to write a book, and I want to write 10 pages of this book. Like okay, but how are you going to do that? How many pages or how many words per hour do you want to write to in order to get to write 10 pages today? Like it really is like what are the parts that go into it? And it will make everything so much easier and so much more tangible. The smallest changes you make in any career will ultimately make you the biggest outlier. The third thing I want to get into is fear versus excitement. This is a very important thing, especially in the world of sports. The moment you are put to the test in a competition, what are you feeling? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling scared that you might not perform as well as you want to? Or are you excited? Are you curious to see how well you will perform? There's a huge difference between this. I think the best swimmers, the best athletes in the world, step up to the challenge, not with fear of how they are going to perform, but with excitement and curiosity on how well they will perform, because they trust in themselves. They are confident in themselves that they will ultimately swim well, and they automatically are assuming, okay, I am going to perform well. I'm just curious and excited on how well I will perform. I think that is the key mindset everyone in their sport should have, is not standing up to the challenge being scared of what you are going to do, but being excited, being curious, like how well you are going to do. You should definitely just assume that you are going to do well. If at the end of the day you know that you put in the work and you put in all of these hours, why would you swim bad? Why are you so scared of performing badly? These athletes, these outliers, believe in themselves more than that voice of fear in their head that is telling them like you're not ready. They believe and they're confident in themselves way more than that small little voice. They can step up to the challenge with confidence and excitement and curiosity. And at the end of the day, the mindset of curiosity will go such a long way, because being curious opens you up to so many new possibilities. You are not limiting yourself. Instead of setting expectations, be curious. Be curious of what's to come. If you are setting yourself expectations, that will most likely lead to pressure, and pressure will most likely lead to fear. So, not the best path to go on. So, I suggest you take the path of curiosity. Number 4. This has been hammered into my brain with a nail, because everyone on our team talks about culture creating success. If you are surrounded with successful people with a winner's mindset, you will most probably also be a successful person with a winner's mindset. You, like all the people you have around in your life, you will be a reflection of them. These outliers really are surrounded with people that have a positive winner's mindset. Automatically, they are imprinting off of these people, and it's like a energetic exchange. Both of you are going to be reflecting off of each other. Therefore, if you are currently in a group of people that don't inspire you and you think they don't have a good mindset and you want to change that, change those people. It's pretty easy to say, and I know it's pretty hard to change, but ultimately, when you find the people that inspire you and are always motivating you and really are putting you in a winner's mindset, that is when you will start to also have a winner's mindset. My last thing, that is a pretty straightforward thing that these Olympic medalists do that the average person doesn't, and I've learned that I should do, is when they are performing, they don't really think. Like, it's crazy. I asked my boyfriend, like, when he won his medals, I was like, okay, what were you thinking about? Like, how did you feel? What were you thinking right after you, like, won 2 bronze medals? And he was like, I literally was not thinking. Like, I was, like, my mind literally switched off. And I think that's such a good talent to have, is to just be able to switch your mind off and not have to think of anything. I don't really think it's a conscious effort, but I think when you are so focused on something and you're just not overthinking, I think the opposite of don't not thinking is overthinking. I think if you are just avoiding overthinking, just, when you feel like you're overthinking, just focus on your breath. That is one simple thing to do to start to not think, I guess. Your mind is ultimately the key to unlocking, like, the power that you have from within. And your mind can be such a limitation towards, reaching your best self, but it also can be such a superpower. And I think the first step towards unlocking, your fullest potential in your mind is to not think. And it's very easy to say, but I think, yeah, the first step towards doing that is, when you are overthinking, focus on your breath, take yourself back to focus on your breath and focus yourself back to the moment. See where it takes you. Curiosity. Those are the 5 things that I have learned from these Olympic medalists. If you guys want a part 2, I can give you guys a part 2, because I have a lot more things that are kind of more humorous that I've learned from these people. And honestly, at the end of the day, they are just like you and me. And if we know that they are just like you and me, then that gives us the potential to also achieve things that they have. If you apply a winner's mindset and an Olympic medalist's mindset into any career that you have, it is going to take you such a long way. In the comments down below, I want you guys to tell me what career you guys are in. Yeah, I'd love to know who is watching and who is listening to this around the world. So if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a like and also subscribe down below. It would really help me so much, and I'm so excited for you guys to join this amazing community of people that we have. I really enjoyed making this video, and I will see you guys next week with a new video. Bye!